Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome. Hello. Sorry for our 2-week-long absence. Let's get the elephant out of the room first. Probably should have said that in the
Also,
other
apologies for being an hour late.
That's all right. We tell them we're doing it on Wednesdays. We never tell them when.
Yes, but some of us,
All
have
right,
things not in our control.
Well, I'm presuming after your vacation, you were going to have a job literally the day after.
Yes.
You do?
And yes.
That's just
I
crappy
worked
planning
yesterday.
on your part. Well, that's just crappy planning on your part.
Well,
Immediately
how is
comes
that
back from
crappy
vacation.
planning?
Comes back from vacation immediately. Okay, gotta change right into work clothes.
Well,
'cause
no,
gotta
I
change-
didn't. Well, no, I came back one day. Then the next day, I had off because I scheduled that off. And then the day after, I worked. I got back on the weekend.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh, la, la,
If
la,
you're
la.
anyone who is confused, yes, I was gone. The last two quote-unquote videos were
Have been
filler,
recording.
basically, for
Yeah,
while
they
I
were
was
filler.
gone. So we're back now. So there's that.
Yeah, we're back officially. This is an official live stream.
Yep.
Um,
So yes, obviously, we are
You
playing
didn't-
Destiny, and we have some Destiny news. So what is that Destiny news? Well, we have some leaks. Leaks
Well,
and
then.
updates.
at
We're
this
going
point,
to
I
get
didn't even
moving now.
I was gonna mention how I didn't advertise those videos last week or the week before, just see how they did, and they did crappy. But kind of predicted that. But okay, whatever. But yeah,
I mean, that's kind
what
of
he
how,
said.
That's kind of how filler videos work. Filler videos never really do well.
Yeah, especially by our standards.
Hmm.
Probably could have
What
done better had I
standards?
advertised them. Beside the point. Anyways, tell us, Justin.
Yes.
What are these leaks?
So, as of right now, the end of the season is almost upon us. The end of the season should be about, what? Not next, no, 2 weeks.
Not next week, but the week
2 weeks.
after.
Yeah. So we've got two more weeks until the end of this season, which by next
You and
week
your
should
sparrow.
be the final cap up for this season. So basically some kind of cutscene, maybe an activity. It depends on what Bungie has planned. They have been planning on making more end of season activities stuff, but we will see kind of what happens for
Hold on,
this
I'm gonna
season. Because I don't
Mess
think
with my volume mixer.
I don't think they'll be able to pool like enough resources all the time to make big fancy end of season activities and stuff, but we'll see. It just depends on what they had planned and what they're doing. But
Yeah, no, from what I hear, the end of season thing is going to be kind of like what we had for Season of Arrivals in a way, where it's going to be like, an actual, maybe in a live event, maybe an activity that's going to lead us into next season, because they're keeping next season and all the contents about it really quiet, which is a whole other controversy, and if that's really necessary, and if it's actually bad for the game that they're keeping everything quiet, because, I mean, take Solar 3.0 for this season, right? They were keeping that quiet to the last minute and kind of lumping in with the Leviathan coming back, which Leviathan, yeah, no, that's cool and everything. But everyone thought, maybe the Solar would have something to do with the seasonal activity. It did not, and Arc 3.0, when it came out, or not Arc, Solar 3.0 when it first came out, became very controversial at first. Don't believe me? Ask any Warlock. Don't believe me.
yeah, we even talked about it when Solar 3.0 came out and some of our initial thoughts on it. So
It's kind of worth telling the community what you plan to do for the 3.0 stuff, so they can be like, that might not be a good idea, so they can start working on fixes ahead of time. But no.
it's fine. It's something they want to do and make upon themselves. If they didn't want angry gamers, they should have planned better.
Either they didn't want angry gamers, or they're I'm not sure what they hope to expect, but they're gonna get angry gamers.
Yes. But basically
I
right
heard
now,
rumors though you guys are getting into the staff though.
yes. So yeah, basically right now, people are making plans, setting up, preparing for Arc 3.0. People have already kind of have possible builds in a way set up and prepared. It's like, oh, this exotic's probably going to be very good, or these weapons are probably going to be good paired together. Like,
Yeah,
different
they
things
always
like
have
that,
that.
like what was being done for both Void and Solar. So expect probably some pretty strong builds at the initial part of Arc 3.0.
I mean, it's weird because the beginning of all this, so like get the shotgun for this season. And I'm like, why? It's solar based. And everyone's like, just get the shotgun. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll get the shotgun craftable. Now I'm hearing, get the glaive. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, that
like,
makes
"Get
more
the glaive,
sense
get
at
the
least, because
glaive."
that's Arc.
Well,
Honestly.
no, I think the hunter exotic glaive is Arc.
The Hunter Exotic glaive is Arc, but they're talking about this season glaive.
Oh, okay, the season. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's usually how it works, because they're like, okay, get this stuff craftable first, because that's going to be probably big for next season.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, the shotgun, it confuses me, because that one's solar in a season going to be obviously based around Arc, because Arc 3.0.
Yes.
Not story-wise, presumably, but at the very least thematically, as this season was with solar. So I didn't understand that logic, but now they're like, get the glaive, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. At least that's Arc, so, you know.
Yep.
Though I don't think that have two major glaive type focused seasons in a row, or at the very least tide focused seasons, kind of like this one was. But you never know.
We'll see. We will have to see. I mean, some of it is just up in the wind, and we can only really speculate so much.
Oops.
But
No, you're fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I have bombs. Space cowboy with bomb.
Cowboy with bombs.
Yeah, I have bomb. I have my stick of TNT that never seems to run out. But
Powers of space magic.
Yes, but yeah, as of right now, I quick thoughts on Arc 3.0. There's been kind of a few talks actually that the Hunter is getting some serious rework when it comes to the supers.
Yes.
So
Rumor on the wind.
That.
That's her.
Rumor on the wind is that you guys are going to have a third type of stick, or a second type of stick, and your other two sticks are going to get converged into one.
Yeah, there's talks that I believe it's both top and middle. No matter what, it's middle and one of the top or bottom that's getting merged together.
Yeah. No, so we hear anyway.
Yeah, either top or bottom is getting merged with middle, and a new kind of super is being added in.
Which, I mean, is good for you guys.
Yes,
for you guys alone.
As I have said, and many people agree with me when I say, literally every single hunter or super for Arc is literally, I have stick, and now I can use my stick to do this instead. Oh, I can slam it into the ground. Oh, I can finally spin it. Oh, I can go and slide with it. Like, that's basically the Hunter arcs. And also, my cat is meowing. Hello.
The frequency of your cat sounds like the cat from Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, my cat is very clingy and happy that I'm around, but also is not happy when I'm not around, even if I'm sitting literally beside the cat.
She's lonely.
Oh, she'll be fine. I just put her down. I put her away from the mic, so hopefully she, isn't so loud and all that. But yeah, no. Right now, the Hunter really needed at least something a little different besides that, because literally every single super for Arc was basically literally just like Spectral Blade. It's like, oh yeah, let me just rush into the enemy. At least when it came to Warlock and Titan, you kind of had a little bit of diversity.
Yeah, we had a little diversity.
Yeah, like at least Warlock
Thunder.
the most. The Warlock had the most diversity in what you could do, because you had a very long ranged one and then a easy crowd control one. Literally, the Hunter was just pure crowd control, and Titan was a good major damage and then also a roamer. So yeah, there was that. But yeah,
I mean, literally one of those supers just yeeting themselves into people. So what does that tell you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's literally Titans in a nutshell. So that's literally all of their subclasses in a nutshell. Punch enemy before enemy punch you.
Honestly, the story behind how that super came to be in lore apparently is so funny.
But yeah, there's that. There's not really too much more besides expect fragments and aspects to kind of behave the same like in Solar and Void. For one thing, I didn't actually realize this. I talked about this with you. Turns out you can actually go and how old Top Tree Gunslinger used to give you your shot back when you killed an enemy?
I suppose.
Yeah, turns out you actually have to use a certain fragment and aspect combo and all that in order to get that.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I mean, it's clever.
I didn't realize it at the time, but yeah, no, it's basically like all you gotta mix and match your fragments and aspects, and some things don't get told, like some things you don't get shown, so you're not really gonna be able to know every little thing, but yeah, just mix and match until you get the combination that you like. I mean, although I like old Gunslinger, I'll probably be sticking with Blade Barrage because it is massively OP.
You and the rest of the community.
I'm just saying they made it massively OP, and I kind of be fool not to use it. Like, you'd be pretty foolish not to be using something that's OP. Unless they nerf it, I'm going to be sticking with that. But the moment they do nerf it, I'm going back to Gunslinger, because that is
Now that you say
love.
that, that's going to happen. Watch.
I hope it does, because it's way too strong, bro.
I've seen that just rinse bosses. Speaking of, yeah.
Hello there.
Missed the entire boss, but whatever.
Doesn't matter. He did.
See?
But, yeah,
Zeus.
there's that. So expect to kind of have to mix and match with the subclass for Arc for a little bit to go and kind of build and get back to the build that you like. So if you liked a certain subclass within the class altogether, you're gonna have to mix and match with it until you get what you wanted again. Because like it is when it comes to aspects and fragments, not every little thing is told to you. So a certain thing like getting your shot back with a golden gun, they don't really point that out to you. Yeah, they don't really tell you that until you mess around with it and you realize, oh,
you can do that.
But yeah, there's that. Next up, there's a new subclass that has been leaked. One of the developers, while going and kind of showing one of their finishers that they were working on, was recording a video, and well, in that video,
I'll take over this one somewhat.
Oh, okay.
Give you a little rest.
I mean,
if you haven't told, we're kind of
no.
Just balance this one out a little bit.
Okay.
If you haven't told, we're kind of running an experiment where it's like, I said before the stream, when I do long and many topics, the show ends up being long and many topics. So we're like, okay, you can do these and see how quick they are. But you know what? I'm like, I'll do one at least, just so I can get my quota in.
Okay. Well, let's go.
But yeah, as he mentioned before, a developer that works on Bungie was doing a little bit of a panel, or kind of a thing he posts online. You know, developers do that where they show off their work so they can maybe get hired other places, right? And he was showing off an emote that he worked on this season. And during that emote, he actually had a little bit of the dev thing on bottom, which is basically the tools bar they use for, you know, developing the game. Which is basically just a regular subclass, the actual super, and the 3 abilities like we have. The weird part is that the super tab and the super symbol in this bar did not match up with anything we had seen before. Why is this odd? Because beforehand, every time he did this, he always had a straight up symbol. Stasis, Void, and, you know, the recommended class in which it was associated with. In this case, we don't know. And it was green. Why is that important? Well, it has to do with things like color theory and reverse color theory. Basically, everyone believes poison is next and poison is green and has to do with color theory. There's a whole story behind that. But basically, green is significant. Just remember that.
Yes. Side note, a while ago, just before Witch Queen, I believe during Beyond Light, it was leaked that, and it was, well, there was a leak from a pretty accurate source who's gotten a lot of the content thus far in the game pretty accurate that they leaked about. Went and said that the next subclass being worked on was going to be some kind of damage over time, poison-like, think Thorn. So
I believe that was actually the massive dump you're thinking about.
Yeah, that was the massive dump from a while ago. So
yeah, no, that was a.
So it's believed that this is kind of what this is.
Here's the thing, like that was a massive, basically dump of information that had a lot of stuff. A lot of people thought it was probably a disgruntled Bungie employee because some of the stuff on that list did come true. Some of it didn't, because who knows how long in the development they were when they actually got this information. But the logic was that they were working on some kind of the subclass for poison damage over time. They mentioned Vapor. Now, the logic nowadays is that Vapor probably won't be the actual name, but it's more of a development name, kind of like how you could probably give Stasis just the Ice name.
Oh,
since it's
yeah,
in
which
development.
reminds me of what the original Halo CE was codenamed, but I'm not gonna say it because it's a little inappropriate. But the codename
No!
is very funny. Like the Bungie codenames for things are very interesting. But
Well,
yeah,
there you go. We have precedent then.
yes, but Bungie has some very interesting taste when it comes to their code names. But they're probably not the kind of source of people you want to go to if you have a top secret, initiative or something. I don't know. It'd be a little
Talk about that
awkward.
after the show, because now we're curious. But anyways. But yeah, so everyone's convinced that Vapor will probably, obviously not be the name of the subclass, but it will probably be something similar. Which brings us to the question of, is this the poison subclass we've been hearing about for a while now? Now, people are kind of curious on if it... Here's the thing. People are actually kind of curious on if that will even turn out being true, because there's a lot of hints in the lore, because Bungie does like to tease things about what the next subclass will probably be. We've got everything bounced around from Darkness Resonance to just Aragorn, which
Yes.
might be interesting.
There's a quick side note. There's a chance that the Aragorn spores might be involved with this subclass because in the lore, Eris Morn and the Drifter have been kind of talking about them and some of the things that they can do, like burn them, and they're not the pure form
She
of the
smoked some
darkness and all
shrooms,
that.
man.
Like there's been talks that there's a chance that they might be
Aragorn
part of
might
the
be important.
subclass. So we'll have to see on that front.
Long story short, we know Aragorn's important, we just don't know how yet.
Yeah, we don't know in what way.
But let me be honest, if I had a shroom subclass, that's gonna be funny. The super is just gonna be smoke some shrooms.
Pretty much. But
Anyways,
that's-
weird bad jokes aside.
that's basically kind of been the subclass, is the fact that the guy at the time was kind of playing as a Titan, and well, you saw green for the subclass, so there's that.
Yep. And that didn't look like any Titan subclass we have already, which is
No.
weird because previous displays of him always had him using the appropriate subclass and stuff, as briefly mentioned, Stasis, Arc, blah, 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 blah. So this is interesting. Is this the poison subclass we've been hearing so much about?
Maybe.
Bungie said they won't tell us anything about what happens in Lightfall or anything around next season until the big Bungie Vidoc / reveal on the 23rd this month, which you can bet your sweet Petunia will be covering. I think I can say that was somewhat aforementioned, because that's too big of a topic to not, leave lie.
Yeah.
If you don't like the idea, just say now. But
Well, I mean,
I think I can say we'll be doing that. I think I can
Yeah.
at least.
I don't know. We'll probably, yeah. I wouldn't put it past us. We'll probably be doing that. But
But yeah, there's the actual subclass leak.
yeah, there's not
and all
much besides
Speculation at this point.
it's mostly speculation. What we do know is the icons are interesting because they were playing as a Titan. They had a Titan shield as you normally would. They had 3 charges for their melee, and I believe
Which all were from other things that Titan can do. So.
yes, and I believe their grenade was the same icon as an arc grenade type. I believe. I'm not too sure.
I
on
think
that
so.
one. But the super icon was very reminiscent. It's like the hunters will know this. Very reminiscent to Spectral Blade. So
Could we
it's
be giving
literally
that Titan
near
Spectral Blades?
identical. Yeah, very near identical to Spectral Blades. So
Oh god, Titans with spectral blades, terrifying.
yeah, it's like
PTSD
oh yeah, they
increase.
need more mobility boost.
PTSD increases.
Heavy metal stops. But yeah, so it'll be kind of interesting to see what's going on there. Yeah, I mean, there's literally not that much to talk about when it comes to this, besides the fact that, yeah, we know that there's kind of a new subclass being worked on, obviously. It's probably going to be poison. And yeah,
Probably.
that's.
I mean, that's a safe bet, but who knows at this point?
Yeah. Well, I mean, even the Aragor spores, I'd be willing to bet kind of work along some kind of lines of poison. So.
This man just freaking one-shot him, and I have no idea how.
But
Don't
yeah.
mind me, I'm having a moment.
Nope. But yeah, no, that's basically the two main subclass things for Arc 3.0 and the new kind of leak that we kind of have an idea about what the next coming subclass will be for the next expansion.
Tell us, Justin, what's next on our list of things?
Our next topic is a potential aspect of Destiny having a complete rework for the light system.
Yes.
Possibly even removing it or outright heavily changing it. So,
for a little bit of context, this has been kind of bounced around as a potential for a while now, both by the developers and the community, because some people in the community think light level at this point is getting kind of pointless because of how high it's getting.
Yeah, it's in the thousands. We're nearing.
We are a long way off from D1's like 100, 200 level.
Yeah, so it's
how
not
weak
like,
we were back then.
It's not like Destiny 1 where it showed how long you've been playing the game. It's really just I've existed kinda, but not really, because my light level constantly gets buffed up
even by the
expansion.
end it was kind of pointless. I mean, they kind of just capped it, I believe, at like 200 or 300 at the end, and they were just like, okay, after this point, you just get, you know, more motes of light or more emblems, or I can't remember what they awarded you after that. Kind of like what they do now with, like, after a certain level, they just give you cosmetic engrams.
Yeah.
Kind of like what happened back then. So we're kind of approaching that kind of point again.
But, yeah, there's potential rework at the very least for it, and it makes sense because for me at the very least, I feel a very different impact when it comes to the light level on my initial experience with Destiny when I first started playing and how I play now. It's like, yeah, I know I'm experienced. Yeah, I know I have some pretty good loot and whatnot now, but things are different, and it kind of makes me feel a little strong at moments. So
he's become a grown boy.
I'm a grown boy.
I'm such a proud father.
Yeah. But there's that. So we will kind of have to see what happens. I mean, no matter what, it makes sense that at some point some kind of rework happens with the leveling system as a whole. Because in some aspects it's very grindy, but in other aspects it's too easy. It kind of needs a healthy balance when it comes to some of that.
I mean, what they're planning to do, according to the leak, for those who I don't believe I don't know if we've touched on it yet. I might be just forgetting. My brain just might be having a brain fart. But they're planning to maybe make the seasonal power level that we get. For those who don't know, each season you get a seasonal artifact these days, and that comes equipped with both the seasonal mods that if you get far enough, you can actually get all of them these days. That's a nice fix. Used to be you could not. But also, you could also get seasonal power from that bonus power. So aside from your usual power level of 10 increase per season, you also have this as a way of basically boosting yourself past that, and maybe even over boosting yourself past that per season.
Yeah.
What they might be planning to do, according to Leak, is making that bonus power the actual power level you get every season. So basically, that will be the power levels going forward.
So instead of you needing to upgrade armor, you just have to go and basically play through the game, and as you level up, that's your light level.
Basically, which I mean
kind of makes more accurate sense with the lore when you think about it, because how it works in the lore is literally the more you train, the more you fight, the stronger your light becomes.
True, but at that point you're also resetting every season, which isn't accurate.
Yes.
You know, potato, right?
Yes, it comes down to how they set it up and how they rework it. But
I mean, when you think about it, each new season now, when even new expansion is starting off with a season, so that would be, unlike back in Beyond Light, where there was a few weeks before the seasonal content started versus the actual expansion itself, which would have been a weird time when no one had any light levels. This time with Witch Queen, they started off with a season, and I feel like that's probably going to be the format going forward. There's going to be the actual expansion, the season, and yada 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 going forward. So now that they're connected,
yeah,
it's easier for them to implement this kind of thing now.
It will be. So, yeah. I mean, once again, it comes down to if Bungie wants to kind of go and tell us about this stuff or not, and what they'll be releasing when and where. We just kind of have to wait for it and see what it is and play around with it when it does come out.
Mm-hmm. Who knows? Maybe it'll be riddled with glitches. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see.
We will see.
We will see.
What is next on our docket? I think we have one more thing.
I'll let you do it then. If we're going back and forth, I'll let you do it.
All right, very well. I
You're
just
the
did that
one who
one to
said
beat
we're
my
going
quota.
back and forth.
Truth be told, I don't remember what the last docket is. What is this? Oh, the new seasonal stuff for next season. Yes. So, this is a bit of a fun one. This is actually my department because I'm the lore buff over on the channel here. So, what do we have for the next season? Fuck if I know. That's a
Bravo momento. Por favor.
It's a funny lie, but the added truth is that at this point, we honestly don't know. We have a lot of suspicion of what can happen.
Yeah.
Recently, what Bungie's been doing in the last few seasons, and this kind of started all the way back with Arrivals, is that they've been playing their hand very close to their chest. Now, there's several reasons why this could be. It could be the community's become a little bit hostile to them in recent years. You know, PvP stuff can be dicey at times, yeah. And that has, you know, by their own admission, kind of forced them to keep more quiet. It could also be that they want to build up hype from a marketing standpoint. That's been a theory that's been floated, which, if by that logic, makes no sense, because Paul Tassi over at Forbes did a video as to why that's actually possibly hurting the game instead of helping it. But I'll let him in his video explain that more than I, because that's a whole other topic in and of itself.
Yeah.
But, so, when it comes to what we know about the next season, honestly, nowadays, nothing. Now, there's a lot of, again, speculation, as previously mentioned, as to what that could be. Specifically, the whole bit about, before this season, there was already a list of people that were big for this season. For example, last season, the list of possible theories was Callus and the Cabal storyline, which ended up being true for this season, or Rasputin and Anna Bray. Now, for a while, it's been hinted that Anna Bray has been working on Rasputin and in the Dark Future lore book, which is basically a book that details the basically future of Destiny from a person who literally came from the future's perspective. Anna eventually puts Rasputin in an exo body. Now, okay. I'm just seeing you all the way over there. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yes, that's how teleporting works. I teleport.
But so obviously the Callus storyline got played on this season, so obviously that won't be played on for at least another season or more. Let's just grab it. Here, grab it. But that leaves option B then, which was the original plan for potentially this season, which is going to be Anna Bray and Rasputin. In fact, there have been a few leaks recently about that being the case, which is another thing Tassie touches on, about the fact that this whole keeping things close to the chest is kind of stupid because things will eventually just leak eventually anyway. Am I the only one left? I'm the only one left. Frick. Okay.
Well,
fine.
No, the other guy's alive, but he probably will
yeah,
die because
I did not.
They're
I did not
only
see
level 9 in this season, and it's
new blood
season.
He's either a old blood that has not done anything, or a new blood that has just come into the game.
Yes.
I see. But anyways, there has been, like I said, several leaks about what this season might be. I won't spoil the potential name because that's something I won't cover. I'll leave for a surprise. But I will say that it's very likely that it will probably play out what was option B last season, and that was Rasputin.
Probably.
The irony is that the Callus storyline wasn't actually considered to be all that likely for this season. In fact, most people were betting on that it was going to be something to do with Rasputin and potentially Siva, though that could be just everyone's desire for Siva season.
Yeah, everyone kind of just wants Siva, but I don't think, like, unless they really do something very specific, like a new faction's going and trying to get Siva and do something very specific, but not like last time, or Siva basically comes to life and becomes fully sentient and all that. Unless something like that happens, I don't think Siva's coming back.
Here's the thing. There are precedents in the... I didn't say here's the thing. But, the thing is that there is precedent in the lore for Siva becoming sentient. In fact, there was already hints to that way back when it was first introduced in D1 Rise of Iron. But when it comes to more SIVA, they're running into the problem. While the whole idea of a sentient machine nanovirus does, have interesting implications, especially for the After the Light and Dark saga, when we can play off more, humanity's problems and blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. Bungie has one big issue. We kind of destroyed the only source of producing more SIVA that we know of in Rise of Iron, which was the replication facility, which the Iron Lords died trying to bring.
Creating new forms of SIVA, basically. Technically, SIVA is a self-replicating virus in a way. So,
it is.
In a way, so long as it survived somewhere outside, which technically, lore-wise, it has.
It has, but not in a very vast amount, if anything.
Yeah. So it would have.
It's kind of dicey.
It kind of would have been cared for in a way. Like catered to and cared for and nurtured in a way. Like some kind of group had to.
You could certainly explain, like, there's a massive cache of SIVA that was never discovered. That, for example, I'm right beside him. Hi. Right beside his leg. But you could basically say, like, for example, there was an old Exodus ship that crashed on, I don't know, let's say Titan for the sake of conversation, even though Titan's gone, but, whatever.
Well, technically Titan isn't gone if what happened to Mars is to be believed to all the planets.
Truth be told, we don't even know what the hell happened to Mars. Yeah. We're still debating
I'd be willing to bet what happened to Mars, like, kind of what happened to Mars, where it was put into some kind of storage or something, basically like that.
You are sent to the dark dimension.
Basically, like the collection type thing. I'm willing to bet the same kind of thing happened to Titan in the other Iowa and, well, not Iowa, but
No, dark dimension's Yu-Gi-Oh, my mistake.
I'd be willing to bet that's what happened.
Sent to the dark dimension. Look at me making Yu-Gi-Oh references. But anyways,
Shadow Realm.
The Shadow Realm. That's it. I'm confusing my Yu-Gi-Oh and Bakugan references here. My bad. I'm so much of a nerd, but it's been so long.
Not a very good one.
I know, it's been so long since I've seen the original Yu-Gi-Oh or the Bakugan shows. But anyways, my nerdness is showing here, but I'm okay with that.
Yes.
But yeah, again, Callus was considered to be a very unlikely possibility last season, but it ended up happening. So who knows?
It tied in fairly well with what's been going on. Like, they tied it in fairly nicely, so timeline-wise, it's working out. So it just depends on what's going to happen next. Like, people think they think what's going to happen with that Rasputin's going to happen next. But
there's also the theory about
there's a lot else going on.
The three main, two I suppose at this point, main topics are a season with Aramis getting resurrected, or a season revolving around Rasputin. That's going to be the two major topics here. Now there is one other thing I should mention before we end off the point, which is the raids. Here's the thing: Bungie has promised two new dungeons throughout the course of now and Lightfall. They've already delivered one in the form of Duality. And they also promised that there will be additional raids returning. And we do know they have confirmed next season a raid of Old D1 will come back. Now, whether this raid should be involved in the story or not is beside the point.
It probably won't.
It won't.
Just like Vault of Glass.
They've already confirmed
the was very convenient with the season. Like, it tied it kind of with the season and the fact that, it's Vex related, Vex season, ha ha ha. But yeah, I don't think anything besides, funny cliche tie into the season because it's linked to that. I don't think anything other than that's gonna happen.
Here's the thing. There's a whole debate I can go into about how I should, what I think should be tied into the story, what shouldn't be. I mean, one of the heads of Bungie even said that they can't bring back planets, for example, unless there's a story reason to do it.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to raids are pretty unique experiences on themselves, so tying them into the story, I can kind of see why they don't, because it might break the kind of, intrigue of the raid and, the experience of the raid itself, so I can kind of see that. Story missions, I think, regardless, if you try to reprise a story mission, should be involved in the story. That's just, I think, that. But when it comes to the raid, like you mentioned, there is the... Here, just grab the order.
No. Shoot some of the ads first. Okay.
All right,
go.
fine. You
Okay.
said that. Alrighty, Orb.
You
Okay,
you
here,
go
grab it.
revive him. Go revive him.
Alright, I'll go revive him. But anyways, regardless of if the thing is tied into the story or not, it won't be. Obviously, they've confirmed that. There is the idea that they are trying to at least keep it thematically on point. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to D1 raids, there's the list we have to work with, which is Wrath of the Machine, and, of course, King's Fall, which is, of course, the Death of Oryx. There is, yes, true, Crota's End, but that seems very unlikely at this point, because there's a whole issue of a bunch of things with the raids that have to be dealt with.
Well done. We win.
I think that's a record!
I told you the glitch is good. I just didn't realize it was that good.
I didn't...
Yes, we teleported back here again.
What a very effective teleportation spell. What the hell
Magical
did you
spells
do?
from the... I don't know. I just killed it, apparently.
Yeah, no kidding. You killed it good.
The game did not register fast enough that it should have teleported the boss. And
Yeah,
I
the
guess
game's
it
like,
just,
okay, you're dead now.
I didn't
But,
even swing that much. It just the health bar just dropped.
You just basically willed the boss to die.
I literally took out my sword. I am Jedi.
I am Jedi. But, anyways, as I mentioned, they are trying to keep it at least thematically on point.
Yeah.
Now, why won't it be Crota's End? Let's go over that kind of first. Again, people like My Name is Mylan Games has kind of covered this, or a few other people, I believe, as well. Where they said the very reason why it won't be is because here's the thing. Back in the day when Crota's End came out, it was literally the second raid of Destiny and has, unlike Vault of Glass, kind of a memey history of being the easiest and shortest raid of all time.
Yeah, there's a lot of things people can do to glitch it and cheese it, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one-man Crota meme, that's where that came from.
So I don't really...
It'll take a lot more than a bit of revising to fix that.
They're gonna need to be reworking it. And I mean, they've reworked a few things. Not much, but a little bit of things here and there with Vault of Glass. So...
Yeah, it'll take a little bit more than a little bit of champions here or there and a bit more boss health to fix Crota's End. So
yeah.
that one people are predicting is very unlikely. That leaves us with Wrath of the Machine and King's Fall. Now, depending on which one it is, will depend on the season, obviously. Like I said, if they're not going to do the story, which, again, they won't, they do at least like to keep it thematically on point.
Yeah,
Kind of like how in season
if it's going to be...
Leicester was,
Yeah, if
you know
next
that.
season's going to be Rasputin related, it might be Wrath.
Then it would definitely be Wrath of the Machine,
Yeah.
because that has to do with Siva and everything.
Yeah. But
Plus,
if it's
it's
going to be
Spice
dealing
Colony.
with the Hive again, like if the Hive are going to be doing something again, then
Then it would be
it's
King's Fall.
probably going to be Kings. So it just comes down
Again,
to
they haven't
kind of
shown
what's
us what
gonna
raid it
happen.
is yet, because we know that there's going to be a correlation, too, so...
Yeah. There's probably going to be some kind of correlation. It's just not going to be that much.
Oh, it definitely won't be in the story, it'll just be thematically, which is what they're doing with the raids these days. With the dungeons, they promised 2 new dungeons this year, which I'm presuming, obviously, they're going to do 1 raid next season, and then 1 more dungeon the season after that. Now, the thing about those dungeons is that, obviously, they're a new addition to Destiny, so they can just make the thing straight on point with the story, like they did this season, with Duality being literally in the hands of Callous' mind. Real Persona style, but that's just me being a nerd again.
No, you know.
But, yeah, no, with the raids, it's just going to be a thematic connection, and depending on the raid we get will depend on the story. Like I said, a lot of people are betting on it being probably Rasputin, but then again, we betted on that last season, and look what happened, so... So it's up in the air, truth be told.
Yeah.
Who knows? It might have to do with the fungus or the pyramid.
I
Some
mean,
people are even
no
predicting it might
matter
have to do with
what,
the pyramid
no
hive.
matter what, there's only really 2 kind of things that could happen. Is literally the Hive, either the Lucent Hive or the non-Lucent boys.
The rest of the Hive.
The rest of the Hive, decide, okay, we're going to be doing something now. Oh, you guys have been pretty busy. Okay, well, time for us to try to, get our cards into the ring and all that. So.
Well, here's one thing also. One thing that was mentioned in that massive dump of information from last time that we previously mentioned is the idea of Aramis, who was the big bad of last expansion, Beyond Light, getting revived.
Yes.
Here's the thing. There is precedent for this in both the Dark Future lore tab, which, again, is basically a bunch of scribblings from someone who came from the future, as well as the fact that Bungie seems to be interested in bringing Aramis back. The final boss fight with Aramis does show that her health has a little bit left before she is
Frozen.
imprisoned within her
Yeah,
iciness.
before the cutscene and all that starts. So
Now again, there's no precedent to this. We could just be seeing a frozen corpse, but again, what does TV tell you? If you don't see them die on camera, they may not be dead at all.
yep.
So that's the other subplot that might be played off. Either Rasputin or Aramis's resurrection. Take your bets. Or who knows, something that we have not seen at all yet to begin with. Like I said, take your bets.
So yeah, I mean, there's a chance that if it's what were these Fallen called again?
The House of Salvation.
Salvation,
Fallen.
okay.
Dark Fallen.
So yeah, if this House of Salvation starts, like, if they make a comeback and they bring them back for next season, there's a chance that Wrath of the Machine might be the raid that comes back. And it's just not involving Rasputin that next season, but because the Fallen are involved, that's the raid.
I can probably make a bit of a comparison here in that when it comes to story, when it comes to House of Salvation at this point,
For the
you know,
most
kinda
part,
like a lot of-
they're gone.
yeah, most dictatorial regimes, most of their ranks, which used to be like a good chunk of the fallen population, have either defected back to House Dusk, or have flipped sides entirely and joined House Light.
Yeah.
Only the most radical and basically zealous followers of Aramis at this point are all that's left on Europa.
Yeah.
So like any good
yeah.
dictatorial regime, like any.
Yeah, so pretty much for the most part, if they bring them back, it's going to be very specific in what they're doing. And it's not going to be like a grand scale, we're going to take over the city and kill the Traveler and all that. Like, no, it's
She doesn't have the numbers for that anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be a much smaller thing. And yes, I love watching my knife go towards an enemy and then start swinging into the air and going even further.
It's like, nah, I don't feel it today.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It was actually Bife who covered who the next disciple will be when it comes to the witness.
Yeah.
Aramis is a... Really? Look at this.
Yep.
I've been locked out.
Yep.
Well, I guess I'm sitting here now.
Yep.
But Bife covered who the next disciple will be, and he does touch on Aramis. Here's the thing. Aramis doesn't feel like her place in the plot will be interesting, because, well, she will be interesting, but her place in the plot as a disciple probably won't happen. Because when you look at the plot of Beyond Light, she was kind of just an unwitting pawn for the Witness in an attempt to corrupt us.
Yeah.
As Bife himself kind of puts out, if the Witness ever ends up recruiting her and resurrecting her, she will be a disciple of convenience. She does not have the zealousness of some of its other followers, nor the power of some of its other followers. So, you know, she doesn't really have what the Witness is kind of looking for in a disciple. Plus, she kind of already failed once, which I'm imagining probably doesn't get it in the good books.
More than enough.
Yeah.
Literally Sith ideology, like, just, you failed me once, die.
I mean, as Bife himself also points out, no, it's Mylan. I think it was Mylan or Bife. I can't remember who said this. When it comes to the Witness's ideology, it's very much essentially just social Darwinism. So, yeah, having failed once doesn't exactly look good for her. And she hasn't even been recruited yet.
Yeah. So,
Plus, like I said, she doesn't have the religiousness of someone like Callus or Oryx, so...
Yeah, the pure dedication.
So while her revival is likely, her
Not
position
guaranteed.
as a Witness's disciple, not likely, I would argue.
Yeah.
Again, as Bife says, if she does get recruited, it'll be out of convenience for the Witness, if anything else.
Probably. Alright, well, that's basically been the majority
That's
of
it, though!
the content, really.
Yep. Kind of took a bit on the last one, but that's because I have a habit of doing that. Plus, you know, I'm a lore guy, so the chance to expound on the lore is always good for me. But yeah, that's it. Bungie's had a lot of stuff over the last few weeks while we weren't here, so we thought we'd cover it all in a massive dump video of our own.
Yep. And that's basically it. Look forward to Arc 3.0. It's going to be coming very soon. There's very specific things going to be changed for the Hunter, and I'd be willing to bet some specific changes probably for Titan 2. Then there's the new subclass for the next expansion, which, you know, looks fancy.
We don't know.
Probably some interesting stuff going on there.
I want my pyramid shards. Give it to me.
Solar light, solar fire burn light.
Nah, better you give me my shrooms. I want the power to create shrooms.
Yes.
There is no relation to that at all.
Not
is there...
at all.
Not at all.
But yeah, there's that. So yeah, it's kind of just a stay tuned for what's gonna happen next thing. But I mean, it's kind of a thought type of thing. It's like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen. This could happen. This could happen. It'd be interesting to see what they'll do with the story, or if they're ever going to do anything with House Salvation.
Ever again.
Yeah. They kind of like brought them in, and all of the main guys were killed right off the bat. So
yeah, that was kind of the major critique with Beyond Light. It just kind of felt like Villain of the Week in an extended format.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because Aramis in the lore at least had some build up to her, but admittedly not all that much.
Like not a crazy amount, but a fair amount. Like all the way back from Forsaken. I think even a little bit before Forsaken. So.
Certainly Forsaken. I'm not sure about before that. I'll have to check. But,
I'm not 100% sure on that one myself, but I have a feeling they probably like have like a very subtle hint to it. Like it's kind of like Mithrax in a way, where it's like, oh yeah, there's just kind of this guy.
He's always been around.
There's different people, and they all got referenced together, kind of thing.
You know, if we want to bring back Siva, we could always use House Salvation. I mean, that was her original goal before she became a Darkness Zealot to basically steal
actually, it kind of makes sense when you think about it. They've used the darkness and found a way to like use stasis themselves, so that kind of could be reused in a way where it's like, okay, instead of making ourselves part of Siva, we're gonna use Siva and set up a means to control it in like small doses type of thing.
I mean, they were already experimenting with methods to control it back in its original introduction, so they could just continue those experiments. It certainly has precedent.
We'll see.
We'll see, yeah, we'll see.
As it always will be. We will see.
Oh shit, I've got no more rounds. But, yeah, no, like I said, there's debate about whether the secrecy Bungie's keeping to is actually kind of hurting the whole hype of the game, because, you know, we have no idea what the hell's happening. So.
Yeah.
That's the last of them.
Yeah.
Though I suppose that's a bit more, I guess, realistic in terms of lore, I guess, because in lore, obviously, we have no idea what's going to happen next, but from a player perspective,
Yeah.
maybe not the wisest decision.
Well, you know, don't worry about it.
No, don't worry about it.
Don't
It'll
worry
be
about
fine.
it. It's not like we're all gonna die.
There's a critical drinker who I've recently started watching and said, nah, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
But yeah, there we go. That's the video. Again, one massive dump.
Yes.
Anything you wish to conclude with, Dustin?
No.
Justin.
Yes.
You want to know Dustin? I decree it.
I am part of Dustlight.
Dustlight. He's out. He's part of House Dusk. Get him.
Not particularly. I'll say hopefully Arc 3.0 goes well, and it's not like a major, well, not a major nerf, but a nerfing like both Solar and Void were. Because, to be frank, there's not too much going on with Arc to begin with, so hopefully they don't nerf too much.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Hopefully it goes well. I mean, I'd be willing to bet certain aspects, no matter what, they're going to be buffing majorly. So, yeah. We'll have to see what they have set up on the plate for us and play around with it. Because we know, you know, we all love to play with our food. All right.
All the references.
Well,
okay, guys.
Hopefully you all enjoyed this.
Yeah. Hopefully you all enjoyed that creaky reference, but
yes.
or that.
Don't you want to play with your food,
But yeah.
little ones? Our light is like food. We don't need food, but we use it anyways.
But we do need food.
Technically, no. We can just keep dying. And don't you like a little
mean, yeah,
suffering in the morning?
I mean, yeah, for a guardian, just keep dying.
I mean, that's literally our lives every moment, so I don't see much of a difference there.
Yeah, but death by bullet is quicker than death by starvation, and a lot less painful, typically.
Yes, but death by bullet can easily be achieved nowadays.
That's a good thing. That's a good... efficiency.
Yes. It's like, oh, I'm new
But anyways,
starvation.
I hope you enjoyed as always. This has been the Midweek Report. I'm Nick as always. That's over on the other side is Justin, providing you, I want to say thrilling entertainment, but who knows at this
I'm
point.
shooting down ships with a knife. I think this is entertaining enough. Are you not entertained? A small explosive
Are you not
knife.
entertained?
A small explosive knife nearly destroyed a ship. I think I am powerful. Do you fear
What do you
the
got
knife?
there? A knife! What do you got?
That's literally hunters with solar. What do you got there?
Anyway.
A knife.
Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. As always, like I said, I'm Nick. This is Justin. This has been the Midweek Report. Remember to like and subscribe, comment. Again, tell us what you thought of the show. We're always looking for critiques. Maybe make it shorter, maybe make it longer. I don't know.
Yes.
I've been having people referring to the name as kind of odd.
I
the name
mean,
it
in a
is,
way,
so
it's
who knows?
odd, but it's very unique when you think about it. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, we're reporting of the midweek. Yes.
Eh.
Yes.
Anyways, as always, thank you for watching, and good night.